what you have here, and this is a situation where the president went through another, what they considered a freeze moment when he was on stage. Collecting the fact that this was a fundraiser that raised almost $30 million. People have a really hard time raising money in general to do a lot of things these days, but this is for the presidency, and Trump, of course, has been fundraising like a madman because, of course, the legal system is obviously not working in his favor right now, and he's using that to his advantage politically. And in the case of the president, he was in LA and they did a fundraiser, and this is what happened, I believe. I don't know if this was at the beginning or if it was at the end. Cue it up, my friend. He's not okay. And I think most people understand that. And I've been saying for a long time that he has significant cognitive decline. He's had it for a while. He's probably had it for several years. It's only become too obvious now that they can't hide it anymore. And so how they think they're going to be able to sell this when people are really thinking about who they're going to vote for president, I don't know. And yes, Double K, and you could keep saying this until you're blue in the face, but it doesn't matter because the presidential election is decided by independent voters who do not care about things like that. They should care about how things ultimately break when it comes to labor, because that is the only saving grace that exists. There isn't anything else. The two parties are almost identical in almost every way except on wedge issues. Donald Trump passes the was it $2 trillion? Is that the total amount for the tax cut? Passes the massive tax cut, and Joe Biden makes it permanent. And you could say, oh, they were really trying to they were trying to make sure that it didn't get permanent, and he was working so hard. Come on. Again, it's kind of like, what it's like? I'll give you a better example. It's kind of like what's happening right now with Jamal Bowman in New York City and Westchester County. If the Democratic Party really liked Jamal Bowman and wanted him there, if the president really liked him and really wanted him there, then he wouldn't be getting this level of, or his opponent, I should say, George Latimer, wouldn't be getting the type of support that he's getting. You got Mondaire Jones, who's running in the adjacent congressional district, endorsing him as well. Of course, Mondaire is, selling Jamal Bowman up the river. He's no different than Richie Torres, literally one and the same in more ways than one. And of course, you have Hillary Clinton, who had to endorse because she just is going to be a miserable crone until she goes. If the Democratic Party were really happy with Jamal Bowman, they would be encouraged. I mean, listen, no one's going to tell a person that they can't run, but there's no question that the Democratic Party establishment is in favor of Jamal Bowman losing his race to George Latimer. And in the case of, this particular race, that congressional race is very substantial and it's very distinct in terms of the differences between the two. That is a very big problem. And Mario's right. Although I don't appreciate, I wouldn't use your choice of words here, but yes, the Black Caucus endorsed Elliot Engel against Jamal Bowman. So they've come at him left and right for a while. And while I don't think that Jamal Bowman isn't without his flaws, and no, I don't think he should be kicked out of Congress for pulling a fire alarm. But again, we all know that everyone has differences of opinion in what actually constitutes a fireable offense and what should actually get them into trouble. And listen, there is no question that he should be punished for what he did. I am in full support of that. But this idea that that's what's going to justify unseating or somebody having to be forcibly removed from Congress, I am not with that at all. Seems pretty petty and stupid that that's the barometer that you want to measure it up against. But ultimately, it is a reflection in the disconnect that exists within the party infrastructure as currently it stands and where it may go in the future. As of today, the Democratic Party establishment answers to corporate special interests only. It does not answer to the people. There's a reason why they are not doing anything to deal with the fact that Donald Trump is likely to win again. They are not dealing with the fact that they could have had an honest primary process, and instead, as a result, RFK is now running outside of the two-party system and is creating some serious headway. It is not a surprise that Jill Stein is the only person running for president right now that has a viable path, meaning that they're actually on the ballots, not that they have the money, but is actually on the ballots and can say clear cut that they do not support this genocide and that it must end. Well, I think people are simply getting frustrated with these electoral opportunities that are presented to them. It's easy to see why a lot of people don't go out and vote. Yes, it costs a considerable amount of money to get the word out there. However, in the case of the president, if this was truly the most important election of their lifetime, as is often said, and it's always the Democrats who say it, but now the Republicans are saying it too, because of course they are. You would think that the Democratic Party would put their best foot forward in terms of who they are going to have as their nominee for president. We are now in mid-June. And if you think that we are not late in the game in terms of when you would be making a decision about who the presidential nominee should be, only, what are we? June, July, August, September, October, November. I mean, we're less than 5 months from election day. That's it'll be here before you know it. And you cannot convince me that the president of the United States is likely going to be with us for another 5 years. I think that is not being presumptuous in any way. I think that's being very fair. And you know who thinks the same way? Tens of millions of people who are thinking about who they're going to cast a ballot for.